In the last session, we saw Swami giving us a formula. Life plus desire is equal to man. Life minus desire is equal to God. So Karanji asked Swami this question: in what way can life without desire make gods of men? That means, if you drop desires, how will man become God? By just dropping desire. Swami says, life without desire means the realization of the pure, genuine self, that is Atma. Bound to desire, the self degenerates into selfishness. Okay. There is a difference between these two selves. Swami talks of the small self with a small s and a self with a capital S. He says that it is like this: the two I's, the one letter I and the three letter I. The one letter I is the Atma. Okay, that's the one which we use when we say I am so and so, I am so and so. Okay, the three letter I is the EYE. Okay, it relates to the body. And Swami says that the moment your I becomes associated with desire, it becomes more and more body consciousness and desire, and that's how you get bound. The way to self-realization is to cleanse the self of this ego of selfishness. Then you reach a state of consciousness beyond the mind or intellect, revealing the true self, that is God. You must transcend the mind. Many people talk of Mano Nashanam, destroying the mind. Swami says it's impossible for anyone to destroy the mind. Okay, so it is very, very important that the mind should slowly, one by one, the desires which make up the mind. Swami says the mind is like a cloth that covers and stifles consciousness. The threads of this are desires. If we give up the desires, that is one by one, if you remove the threads, then what happens? The cloth disappears, revealing our true nature. This is what the Vedanta means when it enjoins that one must get rid of the ego or to realize oneself. So when you give up desires, but the beautiful thing about Swami is, he knows that for most of us, we are all common people. And therefore, to take up this mighty leap in one shot is very difficult. So he does not tell give up all your desires. He says limit your desires. So in the 60th birthday discourses, Swami introduced this concept of ceiling on desires. He said you must limit your desires. You need not completely remove the desires in one shot. It is difficult to do that, but you can put a limit on your desires. You can make it smaller and smaller, and one day it will disappear. And he tells the avenues where it can be done. He says, do not waste food. In today's world, there's so much of inequality. There are people who stuff themselves and who waste so much food. And there are people who don't have food and go to bed hungry. So Swami says, adopt a lifestyle where you will not be wasting food. You will eat to live. Okay? You will not live to eat. So this is the do not waste food, because food is God. Then he says do not waste time, because life, he says, in the ultimate analysis is only time. Okay, so time waste is life waste. Then he says do not waste energy. And then he says do not waste money. All these four, Swami says, if you control, automatically the ceiling on desires will make, slowly it will lead you to a path where the desires themselves melt away. Once the desire is gone, the mind is gone. And the mind which distorts the consciousness is no longer there. You are able to see. That is what is Atma Sakshatkar. Of course, another way that Swami says is, you bring about Chitta Shuddhi. You purify the mind. Okay, by Namasmarana, various things, you purify the mind. When you purify the mind, Swami says, the mind becomes so pure and it reflects the reality. It no longer distorts the reality. Okay, it reflects the reality. Your mind itself becomes a mirror in which you can see the reality. So, you mean the mind of man as such creates the block between man and God? That's what the editor asks, and Swami says, yes. One must make a distinction between the mind that is ego and the real self that is consciousness. One has therefore to rise beyond the mind to consciousness to achieve self-realization. Okay. So then the topic turns to something very fascinating about the Sai avatar. You know, we have had avatars down the ages. So many avatars have come and blessed this land. And each is distinct in its own way. But in this scientific age, in the 20th and 21st century, if God has to create faith in man, he must do something very extraordinary. Swami says, Avatarinchuta anatamlo arthamemi. What is the meaning when you say God has come down as an avatar? He says, Janulapai Preeti Vatsalya Paratatoda Varistayiki Daivambu Digivachu Bhuviki Jiva Pragnato Batuga Daiva Pragna. That is, when you say God has come down as man, what does it mean? He says, because of his infinite compassion on human beings, God comes down on this earth and to the state, to the level of human beings, to their own level, Vadistayiki, to a state where they can see him face to face, donning a form. And then, but the beauty is, he retains both the individual consciousness and the supreme consciousness. Jiva pragnato batuga daiva pragna. He is always aware that he is God. Besides that, of course, he also gives himself that little bit of body consciousness because he has taken a form. It is only then that he can show us how to transcend that. Okay? So when God comes down on earth, this is what happens. He comes down in a human form. Now, this is very, very dangerous if you look at it. You know, below the certain trees in India, they install these stone images of the snake and worship it. Naga Devata they call and worship it. Now you close your eyes or you stand in front of that and pray, oh God, please give me darshan. Do we really mean it? Imagine what will happen if the snake starts giving you darshan there. Then immediately you'll take the same stone and kill that snake. Okay. So when God comes as snake, you're not comfortable. Okay, let's say God comes down as Narayana, 4 hands. And then what you do, you immediately put him in a museum and collect fees, saying exotic being, 50 rupees. So that is what happens. So God cannot come in that form. So God cannot come in this form. So he has to come like you and me with only 2 hands and 2 legs. But once in a while, the problem is if he comes with only 2 hands, 2 legs, what do? You'll put your hand over his shoulder and treat him as your equal. So once in a while, he has to part that curtain to show you that he is like you but not exactly like you. Why does God have to do this? He has to do this because then only the message that he brings will be adopted by us. And therefore, that is why he does. Once in a while, he gives us his visiting card. Okay. As Swami says, miracles are my visiting cards. Okay. Once in a while, when you forget who he is, he just gives you a visiting card and says, see that? You know who I am? See this. And then you realize, oh my God, he is God himself. I didn't realize it. I forgot. This forgot is a very interesting thing. Once in Dharmakshetra, there was a public meeting announced at around 5:30 or something. And Swami was staying in Satyadeep. And Mr. Indulal Shah and some of these elders, they went upstairs to meet Swami, and through the window they could see that it was going to pour. It was a very cloudy day, thick clouds. And in Bombay, when the monsoon is there, it is terrible. So they saw the thick monsoon clouds, and Mr. Indulal Shah said, Swami, it is going to pour. Can we do one thing? Can we advance the discourse? Swami just looked at him and said, it won't be necessary. And of course, that evening Swami gave a long discourse. Everything was over. When Swami came back, Mr. Indulal Shah fell at Swami's feet and sought pardon. And then Swami just told him one thing. He said, you forgot. What did he forget? He forgot who is it who had called for that meeting. Who was going to address those people who had come for the meeting? It was God Himself. It is not that, it was not like you or me who are subject to all this rain and sun and shine and all that. It was God Himself. So He had everything under His beck and call. And so Swami said, you forgot. Okay. So these miracles are what are called as chamatkars. Okay. They kind of make your eyes pop out and say, wow, that is something. Okay, so when he does that, it makes you stop for a while and think deeply. Okay, this chamatkar. But Swami says the idea is not just to make you stare in awe. That is not the idea. It has a much deeper purpose. Swami gives a series of 4 cars. He says chamatkar, samskar, paropakar and sakshatkar. What is this chamatkar? Chamatkar is the miracle. What are these miracles? These miracles are evidences of the being that He is. He has donned a human form, but don't mistake me for just a human being. So that is the visiting card that He gives. But what is this? The purpose of this visiting card? It is so that we'll take His message seriously. And when we take His message seriously, then what happens to our life is samskar. Refinement happens, culture happens. It is like a sculptor chiseling away everything that is not Krishna in the rock, so that the Krishna is left behind as the idol. So chamatkar should lead to samskar. It should make you more and more like Him. This is what is called as sarupya. In the 4-step process, you have salokya, samipya, sarupya and sayujya. So you become more and more like Swami. Okay. When you become more and more like Swami, it is not in the form but in the nature, in the sweetness that He embodies, in the love that He showers on everyone. You also try to be as kind as Him, as compassionate as Him. And in the process, what happens? You move to the 3rd stage. What is that? It is paropaka. You start helping others. You start being useful to others. You are no longer thinking about what will I get out of this? What is the deal in this case? You don't think like that. Your relation with others doesn't become transactional. It becomes filled with paropakar. You want to help others. You are no longer thinking of yourself. You are only thinking of the others. And the last, he says, when you keep on doing this, you realize your true self. You discover yourself in everybody around you. And that is what is called as sakshatkar. The actualization. You are able to see the divinity as it is. That is sakshatkar. We'll stop with this for today and continue it in the next session. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba Ji Ki Jai.